Hi, this is Bob Papa, voice of the New York Football Giants, and this is the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast, as always, proudly in association with Andy's Man Club. Lads, remember, it is okay to talk. Tonight, your eyes do not deceive you, your ears do not deceive you. For the third time in as many weeks, we're 75% British, 25% Irish. But as always, we are still 100% Giants. It's another full house, ladies and gents. Can you believe it? 3 weeks in a row. I'm joined by Mr. Optimism himself, Shane. Kev, who's no doubt going to be doing some gloating any minute now, and producer Craig, as we take a look at, it's probably our last look back at the 2024 season, as we have a bit of fun tonight and review our bold predictions that we set back in August. And I've been reliably informed by Craig that there's some absolute crackers in there, so we've got all that to look forward to. Plus, also, we'll be picking up where we left off from last week. And ranking all of our defensive players as we did with the offensive special teams last week. So that to look forward to as well. Shane and Kev, you talking yet? How are we doing?
I'm okay.
I'm we're good, mate. We're always good.
No, I'm fine. I'm representing Penn State today. You could give it the big one and then go into hiding. Congratulations to Kev. I hope for him they do win. I think it's going to be a tough game. Bit of a shame that Penn State and Notre Dame weren't the final, because I thought it was a really good game, to be honest with you. And two teams, it literally could have gone either way, and it just come down for me in terms of which offense made the least amount of mistakes, or which offense was going to make the mistake. And unfortunately, Drew Aller showed a bit of his inexperience, and kind of why I've been saying he should be returning to Penn State, which he's confirmed that he is, by throwing an interception. And the Notre Dame defense made that great play at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very good game to watch. Back and forward. You know, it could have been anyone's game, and Notre Dame just on the day had enough on defense just to make that big play when it counted. But I mean, it was one of those things that was weird. It's one of those games for neutrals that you gutted to see either team lose. Obviously, someone has to at the end of the day. And, Notre Dame move on to the final on Monday night, midnight against Ohio State.
I'm just looking forward to the college season to be over. You know, it's the last remaining blemish on my American football year. So as soon as that's over, we're on to next year. And I
thought it was over for you back in October, to be honest. What season ended the Giants, or the FSU season?
I think it's just the whole season. We could just put that season to bed, and we're on to, very Bill Belichick of me, but we're on to 2025.
On that topic, I have got a question. When can we get rid of this fucking 100 season logo? Because I don't know about anybody else. I'm so done with that 100 season logo. With the season it's time to, I'm like, you know what? Never want to see that logo ever again in my life.
I know, it's just so frustrating. I went and bought the St. Henry jersey. Dan's got the Lawrence one up there, and he's got a wicked patch, and it looks amazing. I've gone and bought mine. I'm waiting for it to come as well. I've got the patch to go on it. And it's like every time you kind of look at that jersey, it's going to be like that season. Oh, that season. So a little bit feels like a waste of money on our parts. But 100 season's gone. And next year technically is 100 years of the Giants. Not necessarily 100th season, but 100 years of the Giants. So hopefully we've got just address the elephant in the room, as the boys can see here. Shane did not catch up with me after the game and give me a swift one to the eye. This is what happens when you have a few too many at Box Park for Sunday football, and you're chatting away to the lads, and you miss a step on the old Wembley Park steps, and you end up instead of using your hands, using your face sort of to cushion the blow as you fall down those many steps.
I bet you felt every single one of them as you went down as well.
Oh my God, yeah, I did. And then the missus, when she saw me when I got home, Oh my God, like the earful I got.
You're in.
Happened? Did you go? Had it out with 4 lads in the pub.
I wish I'd come up with a better story. Yeah.
Love that. Your family in the doghouse, no doubt, about the black eye. Yeah, probably you're in the right place, then. You're in your man cave. That's where you need to be. Yeah, I think this is the last week we're probably going to have that logo. I think after, obviously it's the last look. Nice, it's the last look back at the season. So I think after this week we need to get rid of all evidence of the Giants' 100th season. That'll be coming down off the hanger as well. I won't have that behind me. Yeah, just we need to move on, and we're better to start the next week. If you are watching on YouTube or any other platform, subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. Get involved in the comments. Send us your questions, and give us your opinions on our player rankings later on as well. And also feel free to give us a review on your platform of choice, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or any other. We love the feedback, and be honest as well. If there's anything we can improve on, let us know. But we are kicking off tonight with the latest Giant news. Malik Neighbours, we're going to start off there. Nominated for Rookie of the Year. He's been shortlisted for the award. His first season in the league went straight into not just Giants history books, but the league's history books as well. He notched up a Giants single season receiving record of 109 receptions, 2 more than Steve Smith achieved in 2009. That figure of 109 also racks up as the most by a rookie wide receiver in NFL history, dethroning Puka Nakua's 105 grabs of last year. So that didn't last long. But I think one of the most impressive things about his season is the fact that he missed 2 games early in the year with that concussion. So he achieved the records across 15 games. He recorded 5 or more receptions in 14 out of those 15 games he played in, which again is most by a rookie in NFL history, beating the previous record of 12, which was set by Anquan Boldin and Terry Glenn. But he does face some stiff competition for the honour, though. 5 other nominees have all had outstanding seasons as well. Brock Bowers, obviously, he now holds the rookie receiving record for receptions with 112. Jaden Daniels, who's led his team to the NFC divisional round of the playoffs and could go on even further this weekend. Bucky Irvin, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas Jr. are the other nominees as well. I think it's going to be tough for him, but he's in the mix. And Shane, your bet's still on, mate. So it could be worse. You never know. You've got a 1 in 6 chance of cashing in on that. So if you want to vote for him, get on, I think it's NFL.com, and get your votes in for Malik to win Rookie of the Year, because it'd be great to have at least a little shining light on what was definitely a very, very dark season, and that'll be kind of a nice little way to round out the year. I think he deserves it because we've been so awful. It's just, there's not really much more you can say about it apart from the season was shit, but he's been the only bright spark, really. Well, one of the only bright sparks, really. Moving on as well, what is almost breaking news, I think it came out around an hour ago. Mike Garafolo broke it, revealed that the Giants have fired Jerome Henderson, passing game coordinator and DB's coach, according to various sources. He'd been with the team since Joe Judge's first season in 2020. And safeties coach Michael Trier, I'm guessing, was also let go as well. And it comes as we all know the Giants secondary struggled this past season. The team's first, it's the team's first coaching change of the offseason. It may be the only coaching changes of the offseason, but I think something had to change, and we've seen these changes made today. But Shane, what do you make of the changes in the DB rooms?
I don't think it's surprising, in all honesty. I mean, you've kind of only got to look. Banks has took a kind of a step back, and there's been other DBs that just haven't performed. I mean, we kind of had high hopes for Cordell Flott, and kind of the front office obviously saw a lot in Cordell Flott to take him in the 3rd round to begin with. He's not really performed like a 3rd round player. He's performed like a kind of around round 5, round 6 player at times. But I'm not surprised at all. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens, who comes in there, whether it's going to be somebody from in-house or maybe they've got their eye on somebody, I don't know, at the college scene maybe, or someone who's out of work at the moment. But it doesn't surprise me based on, number one, the DB play recently, and number two, I said that, you want to keep the GM and the head coach, that's fine. You even want to go as far as keeping your old senior DC, understandable. But somebody's got to be getting fired, because you can't run it. But you can't have a 3-14 season and run it back.
Exactly that. Somebody, as Darren said, if it's only these two, are they sacrificial lambs? Possibly, quite possibly. And the DB's really struggled this year, so I think it's the right move, and I think the change was needed. And I think if that, we'll move on to the other coordinators in a minute. But I think if Shane Bowen's going to make a difference on defense, he needs to bring in coaches that he can work with. And obviously Henderson's been around for a while, and I think maybe they didn't see eye to eye, didn't work together particularly well, or they didn't have the same sort of scheme and frame of mind, and so it didn't work.
Yeah. One thing I think you can commend the Giants on for once is the fact that we harp on this podcast about the offensive line, obviously before Bobby Johnson got fired. And one of the things that we said is that we weren't able to coach players and we saw regression. And it's actually nice that they've kind of taken that on board and actually fired two coaches where we haven't seen any progression and we haven't seen development. So get it done quickly, as opposed to what we did with Bobby Johnson, which is where he just seemed to tag on and tag on and tag on. And eventually we got rid.
Exactly, yeah. Rip off the Band-Aid and make the decision, really. And also, as it stands, the Giants want to keep Shane Bowen as well, like I said. There's no plans to fire him, despite comments that were made by John Morrow last week. Again, Mike Garafolo said his understanding is Brian Dable's moving forward with him as his coordinator. And as of now, he remains in that role in East Rutherford in 2025. The only potential sort of wrinkle in that narrative will be if Patriots' new head coach Mike Vrabel wants a reunion with his old DC in Boston, in New England. But obviously, they work together in Tennessee. The Patriots, however, will be signing Ryan Cowden. He's been with the Giants for 2 seasons as personnel advisor. Highly thought of as well, I hear. So he came from Tennessee, where he's director of player personnel for 6 seasons, and he's been let go from his contract with the Giants. And finally, Mike Kafka has been interviewing for both Saints and Bears head coaching roles. However, the Giants are expected to block any sideways moves to offensive coordinator at another team. Again, Mike Garafolo, he's in the know. He knows the stuff. He revealed on the 9th that he would expect the Giants to block any interview requests citing the Seahawks, who were looking for a new OC, and he tried to interview Kafka last year, but they were blocked from doing so. And now, obviously, as it stands, if Bowen and Kafka do stay, I haven't researched this, but it might well be the first time in league history that a 3-win team retain their head coach, a GM, all 3 coordinators, and all but 2 positional coaches as it stands at the moment. Craig, how can we justify that?
I think we've already said there's the fall guys, and the fall guys are gone, and that's how they're justifying it. Mara's contradictions didn't help his case in the terms of talking about why Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are sticking around. Offensive coordinator, I mean, the writing's on the wall for Kafka, really. They seem to want to keep him, but can you imagine him coming back next season and Brian Daboll handing over the play calling responsibilities back to him after he took it away? It's just, it's a sour taste move that I don't think many fans would be on board with. And Bowen as DC, I see the negatives, I see the positives. At the end of the day, it was a bad defense, but we had injuries. We had injuries on offense as well. So, but as Bobby O said, the consistency, you keep swapping defensive coordinators is going to take time to bed in. So it's not ideal, but I mean, control the controllables, and we just get to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, true that. I mean, Kev, just touch on what Craig said there about Kafka taking plays, play calling back. Does he take it back? Is it given back to him if he does stay? Like, how do you have that? Like, I have it one year, you have it the next year. Oh, I'm going to have it the next year. Like, does he take those play calling back?
I can't see how he can, to be honest. It's such a weird situation, like you said. The ultimate flip flopping, back and forth, back and forth. I think if Kafka stays, then I can see Dable still calling plays next year, because there is evidence of other head coaches calling the plays. I don't agree with it, but I don't know whether going to Kafka is the right move or not. To be honest, I don't really think staying with Kafka is the right move. I think he should be allowed to interview for sideways moves. I mean, he's getting a lot of head coaching interviews at the moment. That shows there is something there, in coaching capabilities. But a part of me has a little bit of a feeling that other teams are just trying to satisfy the Rooney Rule by bringing him in for those interviews with no real shot at getting any of the head coaching jobs. So I don't think it's really fair to stop him from a sideways move if he really, really wants to do a sideways move to go somewhere else. Because I do think bringing another OC in and working with that OC will give Brian Dable a better chance of putting together a better offense and a better scheme going forward, and also a better game plan for each week. Again, Craig alluded to it. You have these three coordinators coming back, and this is three-win team. Dan, you said it as well. Like, how often is it like a head coach, all the coordinators come back for a team that's done so poorly? And to give two positional coaches the boot and have them to be the fall guys, to be honest, I kind of see through that, and I think other knowledgeable fans will see through that as well. It's just a situation where I don't know, like Kafka. Why would Kafka want to stay would be my question, because he's kind of been made to look a bit of a tit throughout all this. Like, there's a comment early on about what does Kafka do, like, and there was rumblings came out that a player even said to one of the beat writers, we don't really see Kafka. We don't know what he actually does. Now, he does all the game planning stuff with Dable, but players don't see that side of it. So when you have a player in the locker room saying to a beat writer openly, I don't really know what Kafka does. He doesn't call the plays. He doesn't really coach us one-to-one. Dable does all that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really strange situation, and I don't know how I feel about keeping him on, if I'm honest.
I just think it doesn't really make any sense to keep him on. And, we've the last 2 years, we've won 9 games combined. Our offense has been awful, and I think you just need something fresh in there. Moving on to the defensive side of things, Shane, you'd be surprised if Bowen doesn't go to New England?
I'll be surprised in the sense of I'd have thought that like him and Vrabel have obviously got that relationship. He was DC under Vrabel in Tennessee. You could say maybe it speaks volumes that Vrabel apparently is not going to want him if they don't approach the Giants. Maybe the Giants have already kind of sent it and said, look, if you approach, you're going to be getting declined. So kind of don't even bother. But I think like on kind of one hand, it does make sense bringing bringing everybody back, because if you want to believe, and I don't, I'll say that straight away, but if you want to believe what John Mara said in that he trusts the process, but if you trust the process, then you've got to bring every single person back. The biggest problem is it's a tough sell to the fan base to turn around and say, look, I know we only won three games last year and we were shit, but we're going to bring everybody back, and it's going to be different this time round, because you've kind of not really seen much that is going to be different. But kind of from Mara's point of view, I can understand as to why he's bringing everybody back if he believes in this process that apparently exists.
That's a great point. I mean, I think if they all come back, how is it going to be better? Kev, you got something to add?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the Bowen thing is kind of interesting, because I do believe sort of at the beginning of the season, we saw the defense work quite well. And I actually thought, okay, this isn't a bad defense at all. But the thing about Shane Bowen's defense is it really, really relies on the front guys getting pressure, but also the cornerbacks and the coverage guys doing their bit at the back end. And that just didn't happen. Like, we just didn't have the coverage at the back with the cornerbacks and safeties to allow the pass rush to sort of get anywhere. So I honestly think, I know I'm not saying it's just that, but I do think, like, if we were able to get some cornerbacks who were able to play to a decent level, you might see his defense perform a lot better. I mean, just looking, I know it's not the gospel, the PFF grades and stuff like that. Like some of the early grades, you would have like the defense as like a 61 with the coverage at a 57. 64, sorry, 57, a 75.4, and the coverage is a 62. A 68 and a coverage of 61. I'm not just trying to say that, the back end didn't help this defense. And I do think we need to upgrade safety. I'm not sure whether I want to bring Pinnock back. And he's a free agent now. And we need a CB1. So, in my opinion, if you can kind of get us the slots taken care of, with the rookie coming in last year, and I think that if we can get ourselves a decent safety to go along with Newbin and a cornerback one somehow, I think this defense could be a lot better.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. I think we've spoken before about the defensive backfield being very young, and we need. I think we definitely need. We've said it. I know I've said it before. We need that veteran in the defensive backfield. So let's we'll see what happens in free agency. It's going to be coming up soon. So hopefully we look to the market and hopefully look to pick up an experienced cornerback or safety at least. It'd be good to have some experience in that room. All right, then. Let's move on. We're picking up from where we left off last week. It's time for defense to be graded in our tier list. So, Master of Ceremonies, Craig, over to you, mate.
Yeah, cheers. We're trying not to take as long this week. There were more defensive players to go through, but things have changed. But anyway, just to quickly give you guys a reminder of what happened last week. Obviously, we did the safeties first. So just bringing those up on screen now. With some horrible formatting. Apologies for that. But there is the special teams tier list there. And then we have the tier list there for the offense. Now, since we've done this, a number of players have been released from their practice squad contracts. So on offense, we have Joshua Miles, Ricky Lee, Marcellus Johnson, and Kyrus Jackson, all who are in the ungraded mark because none of them did anything last year. So that's one that's not really going to affect anything. For the rest of them, Carter Coughlin, Shane's favourite, Echo Boydo, Alex Cook, Azizi Hearn, they were all released from their practice squad contracts, as was Boogie Basham, who was the only player actually on the practice squad who made appearances for us, four appearances. He's actually free to sign with the playoff team if they want him. But, that's not my decision and not for me to sell. So, yeah, we'll crack straight on with it. We've got the same setup as we did last week with the tier list. I just need to move some bits around so I can actually see. Right. So we'll start off exactly the same as we did last week. We've got the players who are on the practice squad and didn't really do anything. There's no one graded on this one, so we'll just throw them into D. But Ross Blacklock signed to the practice squad early December, never called up, signed to a futures contract. D. Williams kind of writes itself. Williams was claimed off waivers in early December, didn't appear for the Giants. Under contract through 2026, though. Elijah Riley signed with this. This is a cracker, this one. Elijah Riley signed with the Giants in May, placed on IR with a concussion in August. He is out of contract.
Oh.
Are we sure he's not dead?
with our medical team.
I don't mean to take jokes out of concussions and head injuries because I do appreciate they are serious. But like, he went out. He had a concussion when?
It was August.
So during training camp,
he had a concussion for 5 months.
I mean,
that's dangerous.
That's something seriously wrong if he's had a 5-month-long concussion.
This is a good start.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
Right. Obviously, for any of the players that have played, get your grades into the comments, and Shane will bring them up as and when he sees them. But seeing as it is defense, Shane and Dan are going to be the main contributors, so Kev can kick back and relax, and we get him involved on the important ones. We're bringing the big dog for the important ones. But first one, Raheem Lane. Lane was on the practice squad for most of the season until late December. He was signed to the active roster. He appeared in the Atlanta game and played very well, tore his meniscus, and is put on IR for the rest of the season. He is under contract through 2025. Dan, do you want to take the first one in Raheem Lane?
I mean, the fact that he appeared in a game, does that mean you can't grade him at a D? I don't know.
You can. I mean, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do add a row below. Move you there. We'll call it ungraded. Peek behind the curtain here, boy, Paul. Peek behind the curtain. There you go. Is that better?
Cool. So we'll go with a D then.
Cool. Shane's got a belter for his first one. Devard Wilson signed off the Cardinals practice squad in December, played in the season finale, allowed 3 receptions of 4 targets. He is out of contract.
D.
I'll give Shane the next one as well because
D.
He's tied to a bold prediction for later. So don't give away too much. But
I know who this is. That's the thing. This is the
Johnson. Go on.
No, I was going to say this is the one prediction I do remember making. I can't remember any of the others I made. I remember making this one.
Deontay Johnson was a standout in preseason, suffered an ankle injury which saw him miss every single game except game 17, week 18. He continued his preseason form into that game. He is out of contract. Where are you placing him?
He played so well in that last game, though.
I mean, he had a great game in that last game, didn't he?
He had a great game.
He did have a really good game. Yeah.
I mean, I think you either kind of maybe put him in C, but is that too generous? Am I being too biased? Or do you put him in ungraded?
I'd give him a C. I feel like
I'll put him in a C, and if any of you guys want to object, feel free.
No, I think C's probably fair because he only appeared in one game, but he played better in that one game than the 2 guys in the D category probably did combined. So I think C's fair.
And he hasn't signed a future contract or anything.
Not yet.
Has he got a really shiny forehead or has he got a white patch? I can't quite make that out.
It's shiny.
Oh, okay.
Shiny forehead.
I think he has Star Trek or something like that. I don't know. I don't watch Star Trek. One of them alien ones. Maybe we should move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Dan, Casey Rogers, undrafted rookie free agent, on the practice squad, signed to the active roster early December, waived, re-signed to the practice squad at the end of December. Did play in a few games, never lit the world on fire. Has signed a futures contract. Where you pop in, Mr. Rogers?
D.
To the D side of things. Shane, you're getting all the good ones here. I'll tell you now.
Well.
Matthew Adams started the season on IR, was activated in October, predominantly played special teams where he had 303 snaps, second most on the team. For defense, he played 2 snaps, had 1 hurry and 1 missed tackle, meaning he finished the season on 100% missed tackle rate. He is out of contract.
S. Have you seen how my man's looking? I ain't putting him in D. He looks like he's going to kill me.
He is a unit. He is an absolute unit, isn't he?
Just do it like this game, though. Just go D.
I voted S if you guys want to throw the flag.
As a,
Whatever.
as a, def-
What-
as a
what-
defensive tier list.
Mike, if you're listening, I voted you for S, mate. Don't come after me.
Let's go. Just remind me of the stats.
2 snaps on defense, 1 hurry, 1 missed tackle.
I think you need to remind him of how he looks.
D.
But he was always brought in as a special teamer.
Yeah, and he did 303 snaps, second most on the team, was always solid on special teams as well. So we'll put him in D because of his special teams.
Do we move him up to C for special teams then?
Oh, go on, we'll treat ourselves.
Yeah.
Kev, this is your first one. Trey Hawkins on the roster for the majority of the season, not used despite calls from us. Started week 14, recorded a 79 PFF defensive grade, fractured his back, was placed on IR. He is under contract for another 2 seasons, 2026.
I kind of want to give him a C because he kind of flashed what he could be in that one game. But kind of annoyed, like, has he not been showing this in practice to be able to get reps before that? Which is kind of weird. But, put him in C and see what he can do in this next training camp.
Do the defensive boys agree?
Yeah, I think C's fair. I was bordering on B for him because of that. Again, that one game that he played was very, very good, but I think C's about right.
Cool. Right, back to the people who I'm going to have to start explaining exactly what they did. Dan, you have Corey Durden, signed off the Rams practice squad early December. Rookie played in 4 of the 5 available games, recorded 3 hurries, 9 total tackles, under contract next season as well. Where we put in Corey?
3 total tackles and 9 hurries.
3 hurries, 9 total tackles.
Oh, 3 hurries, 9 total tackles. Yeah, so I think I don't know. CD.
D.
Man.
High D.
High D. Big
Yeah.
D.
Big D.
Shane, Elijah Garcia, waived by the Broncos in August, signed to the practice squad, promoted to the active roster in early December, appeared in 4 games, 4 hurries, 1 sack, 14 total tackles, another year on his contract.
D.
High D, big D,
I don't know. D.
in the middle. Oh, I think actually, hold on, I've skipped a couple here. I'm putting wrong faces into wrong bits.
Oh.
Right. Hold on. Corey Durden, you were there and you were there. Right, let's go back a bit. Let's rewind. Anthony Johnson Anthony Johnson Jr., Dan, claimed off waivers in August, cut by the Packers, mostly played special teams. It did play defense the last 2 games, not amazing, under contract for 2 more years.
I'm going to go with a D. It's beginning to be a running trend here, isn't there?
It is. Shane, Art Green.
D.
Stop me if I've said this before, but waived by the Broncos in August and signed by the practice squad, promoted to the active roster in early November, appearing in 3 games.
Yeah, D.
Shane, you might as well do back-to-back ones. Ty Summers, practice squad member, promoted to the active roster in September, has the 4th most special team snaps and the most special teams tackles. He also had 25 total defensive tackles.
I'm going to give the C for his play on special teams.
He was
Impressively,
asked to be starter the last couple of games as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he stepped in when McFadden obviously went down towards the end of the season, and we'd already lost Bobby. So,
So I was thinking he's outplayed those other 3 guys in the C level, so I think B for him.
high C.
The other 3 guys are too high.
I mean, we're just being generous today. I mean, we're firing through them. So,
Yeah.
If you've played a snap, it's a D by the look of things.
I think we're just fed up of talking about the 2024 season, so we just want to get it over and done with.
That is kind of why I'm absolutely firing through these, and obviously we got the real treats to come after this anyway. So
Yeah.
Dan, Greg Stroman, practice squad in October, promoted to the active roster December, 38 snaps in week 8. Had the rest of his snaps between week 13 and 15 before he picked up both shoulder and shin injuries. He is out of contract.
Shoulder and shin. Wow.
Adrian, you both.
Yeah.
I mean, they're complete things.
Did he kick one with the other and then end up fucking them both up? Strowman, yeah, D.
D.
Mid D maybe.
Okay, mid D, about there. Cool. Kev, we throw one to you. Armand Watts, again started on the practice squad, promoted to the active roster in October, played 5 games where he showed early promise in pass rush, but was very poor in the run game. Injured his knee early January, put in on IR, out of contracts. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like you said, in some of the pass rush stuff, I thought he'd played quite well. He actually flashed, and I heard his name being called. I'd definitely bring him back again, try and develop his run stuffing ability a bit better. But he could come in and of his passing downs. I'd give him a C.
I agree.
Back to Shane. Patrick Johnson, claimed off waivers in September from the Eagles, mostly a special teamer, but played 6 games, recording 1 QB hit, 4 total tackles.
D.
No other explanation, just
a D.
To be fair, this is where we're going to start getting into the players that we're like, oh yeah, I remember him actually playing games. Dan, Timon Fox, undrafted free agent 2022, back up to Burns, Tibbs and Aziz, recorded 2 quarterback hits and 1 sack, but nothing in the final 4 games, out of contract.
I'm going to pull a Shane here. D.
Right, Shane. Aziz Ojulari played in 11 games before his season was ended due to yet another injury. 12 hurries, 3 QB hits, 7 sacks. He had a career high 9 missed tackles. He is now going to be out of contract.
Go through them stats again, please.
2 QB hits. No, that's wrong. 3 QB hits, 12 hurries, 7 sacks, 9 missed tackles.
B.
I mean, he did generate pressure when he was on the field. It was just not great tackling. But then again, we couldn't set the edge against most runs anyway. So, Dan, DJ Davidson ended the season on IR, 12 appearances, 6 hurries, 2 sacks, 22 total tackles, 1 more year on his contract.
That's C for DJ.
C for DJ. Do I really need to say the next man's name out loud and go through his stats? Dex had a career high 10 sacks, 12 games before he dislocated his elbow, led the Giants in sacks by the end of the season, and was still 4th amongst all defensive tackles. He's under contract until 2027.
Can we create a new category? Can we just create a new category called Dex?
Double S.
Or sexy. Or whatever. Just he's in his own category. He's in the stratosphere. Maybe that's S stands for stratospheric.
It's a big word, Dan.
No one's gonna come close, are they? No one's gonna come close.
I mean, if you put him in S, there's only one other player I think can even get close to it on defense.
He's going to be the only one in that category. Spoiler alert.
Shane.
It's going to be anyone in that category.
Jordan Riley. According to PFF, the Giants' worst graded defensive player. Only saw consistent field time from week 13, ended the season with 1 hurry, 1 QB hit, and 2 tackles despite 248 snaps. He is under contract for another 2 years.
D.
I mean, Dan says
He's
lower.
Is he any better than the guys in ungraded? Did he give it? Did he
on the field?
Oh yeah, that's true. But
He was able to show
might as well
things,
have not-
and then he was not able to show things.
he might as well have not got on the field because he did absolutely nothing. There you go. Thanks, Holty. Yeah.
Kevon Thibodeau, injured from week 6 until after the bye week, finished with the second most pressures with 38, including 6 sacks. Suffered with missed tackles, 8 on the season at a rate of 27.6. He is under contract next season.
Yeah, I want to give him like a high B, low A. Yeah, I think I'll just go for he'll be the first one on the B list, I think.
Shane, Dan, thoughts on Kev?
I'd give him a C.
I think he's frustrating because he flashes, but he doesn't do it as often as you want him to. He doesn't produce consistently enough.
I know the answer, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Shane, does he stop you drafting Abdul Carter?
Absolutely not. I think Abdul Carter can be everything we hoped we were getting with Thibodeau. And I'm going to throw it back at Kev, because everyone's going to be going, oh, he's home when it's Penn State. Kev, as a neutral watching him with an injured arm on the other night, Friday night.
I was just about to say, because I haven't actually gone to his film properly. Like, as people know, I'll start to do that now with all the big players. He's been good all season, but seeing what he was doing with one arm, and when I say with one arm, he was like with one arm. You could tell he was favoring one arm, and he was still just wrecking that game. And so we had to scheme to go the other way against him because he was still just so dominant.
It's that one play. I don't know. You're going to know what I mean. The ball gets snapped, and the way he just recognises the play, and he goes running over to the opposite side of the field to make the tackle, before the play is even developed. It's not just me homering. People can think that's fair enough, but I do think, he's in. We'll get to it in coming months, but he's in contention for me at number 3 overall.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Dan, Bobby.
See,
I mean, he continued his every single snap count until week 7's ass whooping from the Eagles. Injured week 13, went to IR with a herniated disc. Did have a tough time adjusting to Bone's scheme, but excelled from week 6, finished 3rd overall in tackles and 3rd overall in solo tackles as well.
I think he wasn't as dominant as he was last year. So that's why I've gone with C.
Shane, are you happy with Bobby in a C?
Yeah, no, I think you low B, high C, just for when he performed. I mean, I think you could. I mean, I think I'd probably have him above Thibodeau personally, because I think when he was on the field, he did do a little bit more than Thibodeau did.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a tricky one. If it was last year, he'd be an A, obviously. But just so the injuries didn't help this year, and he just wasn't a dominant force when he was on the field like he was last year.
Yeah, maybe bump him up to B then. I suppose he's above the average, isn't he? Still.
Here's one for Shane. Isaiah Simmons, the man hyped up in Hard Knocks, went on to make 0 snaps in week 1. Had his lowest snap count for a season, was never on the field consistently, and also his play was never consistent. Finished with 4 total pressures and 18 tackles out of contract.
D.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Dan, Darius Musau. Role diminished after starting week 1 and bagging an interception, but he stepped in for Bobby O from week 14. I think you describe him as hard-hitting and a tackling machine. He finished 7th in overall tackles, obviously under contract through 2027.
And up until week 12, I want to say, had our only interception of the season.
Correct.
And for a 6th round draft pick as well, I thought he had a pretty damn good season. I would put him alongside Bobby O in a B.
I'd agree with that. Kev, go back to you for this one. Another rookie, Tyler Nubin, another tackling machine, to be honest. Played 13 games, finished 2nd in overall tackles with 96, despite his season being ended in week 13 due to an ankle injury, under contract through 2027.
Yeah, for me, I'd give him a B because I think when he was on the field, he looked like he belonged. He had a few ups and downs as rookie players do. He didn't play to the high standard that we kind of hoped he would or thought he would, but there was definitely flashes there. And like I said, he didn't look out of place. So yeah, for B for me.
The next 3 are all the next 4 are the same position technically, but I'm going to group the next 3 and go for Shane. I'll ask Shane first, and then Dan. So Deontay Banks, Cordell Flott, Adoree Jackson. Banks finished with a 50.3 coverage grade, missed time due to a rib injury. Big step backwards in his development. Flott had a better season than Banks, set career bests in solo tackles, total tackles, stops, pass breakups, and NFL quarterback rating allowed. Also had an interception. Adoree signed late August, used as a rotational piece. Loss of step was clear, prone to giving up a key play. He is out of contract. Banks, Flott, and Jackson. What are you saying?
Am I grouping them all together or separately?
Rank them separately. I just wanted to group them together because they're very much of a muchness, aren't they?
Banks D.
Yep.
Adoree D.
Yep.
Flott, I kind of want to say C, like a low C, because he improved on what we've seen previously. But if the other guys want to veto that and bag him in the D, I'm not going to argue.
Dan, what are your thoughts on the
No,
three?
I think C is fair for Flott. Banks, throw him in the bottom category, mate, because I thought it was awful. No, he's better than ungraded. Banks D, definitely. Adoree, it's tough for him because he improved on last year, which it wasn't difficult to improve on last year because he had a shocker last year. But overall, I think, yeah, D, because, yeah, Adoree D, Banks D, Flott C.
So I saw something earlier where someone said that Flott could be a... There we go. I think there's a big chance Flott could be cut because we save $5 million. Kev, are you bringing back Adoree at all? And would you keep Flott even if you could save $5 million?
Well, I had a quick look earlier, and you'd save 3.25 is what you'd save by cutting him.
Because of the dead cap hit, yeah?
Yeah. So it's 3.25 that you'd save by cutting him before pre-June 1st, before June 1st. The thing is with Flott, he kind of like plays well-ish in the season. And you kind of look at him, you think, oh, there might be something there. And let's face it, he's going to his 4th year, his final year of his rookie contract, and he's still only 24. So I would kind of like, it's a difficult one. I mean, if you really need the money, you might cut him, but 3.25, is that a big amount of money? Or is it worth sort of giving him another year to try and see if there is anything there and then just letting him walk next year? I mean, it's kind of interesting with the 3 starting outside corners there. They started at various points throughout the year. And none of them play to the level of a starting cornerback. Hence the reason why they're getting D's and low C grades.
I think for $3.25 million, I think you bring him back and give him that one last year to do what he can do. I mean, he's shown like flashes, but very few flashes, and he's just a bit meh, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's why the DB coach has now been fired. So let's see if the new DB coach changes anything with Banks and Flop, because they could well. Shane, Drew Phillips, pretty much one of the rookie stars of the season, I think, on defense. Hard hitting, aggressive, instant impact, recorded a sack, 2 forced fumbles, interception, had 70 total tackles. I think he was one of the highest graded defenders across the entire season as well. Something around 79, I think it was. So what were you saying about Drew? How would you rate his season, and where are you placing him?
Yeah, I think he had a really good season. I think I'd put him in the A category. If people were to say A is a little bit high, my counter argument to B, if I look at who's in the B category, he had a better season than all of those guys. So you either drop all them down a level and then he can go into B, or you accept that he was at an A level. Performed much better than what I anticipated him to. I think he took to the league really well. Even in week 1, he had that... was it the forced fumble that I think that he had against Minnesota? So he come in week 1 making plays, and he's kind of the kind of player that you want to see on the New York Giants.
Dan, Micah McFadden, mixed bag, number 2 linebacker role beside Akereke, struggled a bit. Bobby goes on to IR. Michael all of a sudden turns it into Bobby O 2.0. Finished the season, as the lead tackler, 101, despite only playing 14 games. Under contract next season. Where are you placing Micah?
I think alongside the other 2 linebackers in B. Again, with that, I think he had a better season than those guys in C category. So I think B's a good spot for him. I thought he did well.
Nacho Man is Shane's next one. Played 15 games and finished as one of the worst defenders on the team. In 15 games he was a starter for most of these games. 7 hurries, 3 QB hits, 3 sacks. And he played the 9th most snaps on defense.
The guys can overrule me if they want, but I'm happy to kind of either a high D or a low C.
Dan, Kev?
Yeah, I think high D's fair. I thought he's just not lived up to expectations. I know he's behind Dex, so it's always going to be difficult for him. But I think that the expectations of him coming from Tampa Bay, just won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, so the expectations are high, and he's just not lived up to those. And he just had it, and then again, he's just had a poor season.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really been the player that we thought we were signing in free agency, to be honest. He's coming to last year of his contract now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so he's coming to last year of his contract now as well. He's 32 this year. We would save $3.6 million by cutting him, with only a dead cap of 1.4. So yeah, we'd save 3.6 by getting rid of cutting this season. And I think we need to address that spot anyway. A starter next to Dex. He's not that. So I would definitely let him go and look to bring in an actual starter next to Dex by a draft or free agency.
So last 4, Shane. Dane Belton played a lot of games, but was mostly a rotational piece. Flashes at times, had a highlight reel interception, but not consistent. Maybe suffers from consistency by not getting a run of games. Got another year on his contract. Where would you put Belton? I think this is one of the most difficult ones.
I'm probably going to go for him as a high C, because I think he's in front of all the guys that are on a C, but I don't believe he performed quite at the level of a B. But, to be fair to him, when he's on the field, he's just one of these players that always seems to kind of find the ball or be in and around the ball. And that's why I'm going to go for a high C on him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like Dane Belton. I think he could be. I think we can see more from him.
Well, how about his safety teammate, Dan? Jason Pinnock. Number one safety, no interceptions, ranked in the bottom half at his position in most of the PFF categories across the league. 15.1% missed tackle rate, an 81.5 reception allowed rate.
Let's put him alongside Mr. Jackson. Put him low D, please and thank you.
Any objections, Kev, Shane? No. I mean, that pretty much just sums it up. I mean, that's a safety. I think that's the thing. He came in as a safety 1. You grade him as a safety 1, and as that, he is a D.
Yep.
Kev, go with you with this one. Elijah Chapman, undrafted rookie free agent, shone in the preseason, signed to the active roster. Only one of 2 players on defense to start every game, because it feels like I've said only played X amount of games for every other bloody player before this. 19 pressures were only behind Burns, Dex, Tibbs, and Ojulari. Didn't miss a single tackle through the whole season.
I mean, this is a great pick, an undrafted free agent to come in and put up those numbers and play that much. Do I believe we need to upgrade the position generally? Yes. But I think he's a great sort of rotational piece to come in and pass rushing. Like, I'm flirting with the low A here, like a high B, low A, from what he came in, the situation when he came in, and how he performed throughout the season. He vastly outperformed his sort of draft position or lack of. So I don't know. Like, I'll throw it over to the other 2 guys. What would you say? High B, low A for what he performed, how he performed?
Shane?
Who was that for? Sorry, my signal's dropped out a little bit there.
Elijah Chapman.
I'll get A. Fuck it.
Dan?
No, I agree. I think for a UDFA, the fact that he appeared in every single game, and when he came in, was half decent. So I think for very low expectations to perform how he did, I think A is a fair grade for him. I think well done.
Cool. And then let's just finish this off before we move on. Shane, Brian Burns, big off-season trade acquisition. Battled through injuries all season, pretty much. Like, I'm pretty sure he was injured within the first few weeks and just battled through. Led the team in pressures with 61, was tied for 3rd with Parsons with a pass rush win rate of 23%. Had 4 batted passes, 42 stops, which led the Giants under contract through 2028. Where are you ranking Brian Burns' first season with the Giants?
I'll put it as an A, but I'm probably going to put him the 3rd option on the A list. And the reason for that is because when you think of what he's being paid compared to kind of a rookie and a UDFA, so, happy with what he did. Do I want to see him do a little bit more for the money we're paying? Absolutely. But, not much to knock it. And he did much better than the guys that are on B as well.
There we go.
Yeah, agree with that.
So
cool.
That's the tier list. I think that is correct. I'm going to download it again, like I did the last one, so at least we have a copy of it.
It says a lot there, doesn't it?
It does say a lot. Can we just highlight a couple of things? First of all, Tyler Nubin needs a brand new picture next season, because that is an absolute shocker. I don't think Darius Moussao's is much better, so he could do with a new picture. But other than those 2 needing new pictures, is there anyone on there now that you want to move around?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it just goes to show, really, you want your squad or roster to be A's and B's, because you're saying, are you doing your job? If you're a starter, are you playing at the starter level? If you're a backup, are you coming in and giving decent snaps when you get them? And if you look at that, it's so bottom heavy, because it shows the sort of lack of talent that we've had on this team.
Do you think
Yeah.
It's fair to say that it shows how poor the depth is, and the fact that, like, one person at S is perfectly fine with me. 3 people at A, again, fine. But I feel like C should be the overwhelming favourite. Like, you should just appreciate your depth. Whereas, I mean, we've got starters down in that.
Yeah,
area.
B and C should be that. B and C should be where it is heavy, and it was just not good.
I think as well what it shows is kind of poor job really that's been doing in terms of roster construction.
100%.
Yeah, and the fact you look at that list, and there's 10 players in the top 3 grades.
Mm-hmm.
Says it all, really. Says it all.
It does.
Cool. Alrighty, there you go. That's our season tier ranking list done. That was good fun. Enjoyed that. I think we're going to move on to college prospects for this weekend's championship game. This weekend, Monday, isn't it? Monday's championship game.
Yep.
Cool. Standouts. Who are we looking for, Kev and Shane?
I'll let Shane take control.
Yeah, so kind of Kev's not had much time to prep with this one, but it's going to be 2 guys that he should be fully aware of. So I've chosen an offensive and defensive player from both teams, and we'll cover the Notre Dame guys first because I know Kev can get into them a lot more better than I can. So I don't even think Kev knows who I'm about to bring up. But I've gone for quarterback Riley Leonard, the 2 Rileys, quarterback Riley Leonard and defensive lineman Riley Mills. Kev, over to you for these guys.
You're on mute, Kev.
Oh. My bad. Sorry. Yeah. Why did you choose Riley Mills? The guy's injured. He's missing the national championship game.
Oh, I did. I literally, you know what it was? I was like, I want a defensive guy, and I was like, I don't want to go for Xavier Watts. I don't want to go for, is it Morrison, the cornerback?
Yeah.
Morris. And we've already done, we've already done Cross. So I was trying to go for somebody, and it was either him or Jack Kaiser, and I thought, I'm going to be clever here. I'm going to go for someone that probably we've not really spoke much about. So that's why I went for Riley Mills.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll talk about Riley Leonard first. I mean, just pull up his stats quickly. So he is at 6'4", 216 pounds. So perfect prototypical size for a quarterback in the NFL. This past season, he's currently played 15 games. He's got the 16th game on Monday night. He's had 372 passing attempts, completed 247, 66.4 passing accuracy, which is decent, to be honest. 2,600 yards. He's only had 19 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. But when I tell you the next stats, I think that's down to the way the Notre Dame's been playing the ball. It's in we've been by far more of a running team. And he's had 167 rushes for nearly 866 yards, 5.2 average, and 16 rushing touchdowns this season. So he's definitely one of those sort of like proper dual threat quarterbacks. He's got good football IQ. He's smart. He's got decent placement, but not great. He's sneaky fast, though. I mean, he can get the edge and he can outrun. He was outrunning like Georgia linebackers. And Shane, how fast them boys can be, in that SEC Georgia team, those linebackers. And he's fearless. He'll run through a brick wall for you. He needs to calm that down probably at the next level. But he's just a gamer. He is like someone who kind of puts the team on his back and gets a first down, whether it be a pass, whether it be running the ball himself. On 4th down and 2, he is coming over with that first down. He just will make sure he gets that first down. So you kind of like that thing about him. But like I said about the passing as well, he's a bit raw as a pocket passer. He can throw hospital passes sometimes to some of the receivers. And he needs to get rid of the ball a bit quicker. He can be inaccurate sometimes. He needs to work on his mechanics, I think. But the offense hasn't really asked him to throw the ball deep. He doesn't really throw further than 15 yards, apart from sort of design plays when, things open up for him. So, yeah, I mean, he is a good player, a good college player. Do I think that can translate to the NFL? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it can, but I just wouldn't sort of like, I can't see him go much earlier than day 3 in this draft, just because, I think there's some stuff that needs to be worked on there mechanically for his passing. But yeah, he is a gamer, and he is sort of one of the reasons why Notre Dame's in the college football final.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously you've seen a little bit more about him than I have, and this is a little bit of a lazy comparison. I don't know if you know where I'm going to go with it, because he's a quarterback that once played at Duke, like another quarterback who once played at Duke, who the New York Giants are a little bit aware of. But I have seen comps in terms of Daniel Jones, and from what you've said about him, not saying he's exactly a comp, but Daniel Jones was mobile, he was quick, he got rushing touchdowns, he could navigate the pocket fairly well. We've seen him many times scramble, not very good at scrambling or at least sliding. But I know that's the one comp I've seen probably the most for Riley Leonard is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We're not going to take him in the first or second round anyway. I know that much for sure. But is he someone you could bring in and work behind a more of a developed quarterback? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he's someone that could develop, or even someone who, dare I say it, maybe a bit of a Taysom Hill role. You kind of bring in on short yardage. You kind of, when you're going to run the ball or pass it, he could be someone that comes in. So it could be like sort of like play specific. But I don't know if he'll ever develop into like an actual starter. Like,
what about Riley Mills? He's not someone I know much about. But like, you look at his stats: 8 sacks, 5 hits, 21 hurries, pass rush grade of an 83.1. Doesn't seem to do very good in terms of run defense. So is he more of a D end in a 3-4? Would you say?
Yeah, I think so. He's 6'5", 295 pounds. So he's got sort of like the measurables and stuff. He's just one of those players that he's decent against the run. I think like the grades sort of doesn't do him the service, but as a pass rushing interior player, he's phenomenal. Like, he's right up there. And he's one of those players. I mean, again, he won't go too early. I think he'll kind of go round 3, round 4. That type of place. He won't go too high because of the stuff you kind of talked about. But as someone next to the guy, I know we've talked about this in the past. He can excel, I think, and I think he can be a starting interior player next to someone who is established and who is really, really good.
Look at Dexter Lawrence. Let's just say it.
You connect the dots,
So that's the two guys from Notre Dame. The next two guys that I chose, love that picture of Jack Sawyer. Absolutely brilliant for them. Yeah. For those that can't see as well, because it's just off camera, he's pointed at somebody. So I went for Jack Sawyer and also Travian Henderson. I'm going to talk about Jack Sawyer first. Made a fantastic play, probably one of the best plays that you've ever seen in college football playoff, especially in recent years in terms of the touchdown, the sack, fumble, recovery, touchdown, 83, 87 yards, I think it was. I do like Jack Sawyer. I don't think he's going to be a day one pick. I think he's kind of one of those guys who you're going to kind of take him like round 2 or round 3. He's never going to light it up in the NFL, but you could get like kind of solid, consistent production from him, and then he might kind of have a kind of breakout season. I don't know what your thoughts are on Jack Sawyer, Kev, if you see anything different compared to what I do.
Yeah, I love him. He was on my radar last year. He could have come out last year. He obviously decided to go back to Ohio State. Just pop his grades. I mean, last year 89.5 defensive grade. This year 91.1. Do you know what I mean? He's just a baller. He's one of those players like lunch pail guy. He comes in, does his job. He'd be more of a sort of like set the edge type of player. Tough, hard nose, like I said. And then you have your flashier guy on the other side, who's your more of a star pass rusher. But I'll tell you what, he comes into anyone's team this offseason and makes them better. And these are type of things where, like, I think I've mentioned in the past, like him, Riley Mills, Jack Kaiser, linebacker for Notre Dame as well. These are kind of the players that come in, and we've talked about it offline, with the right kind of guys. The guys who come in who just want to come in and work, and they're not about the fancy nonsense that sort of comes with being a star athlete in college nowadays and the NFL. He sort of epitomizes that. Let's come in and absolutely hammer our opponents, and it's all about winning. He kind of has I'm not comparing him to these guys, but he kind of, with the college and everything as well, kind of like Bosa's light, those type of, give me those type of vibes.
Yeah, definitely. And then I don't know if you've watched much tape on Travian Henderson at all, but I absolutely love the guy. Now he does have some concerns in terms of his injuries. I know he has missed kind of some time. Just got it here. He played 15 games this year, 10 last year, and then 8 the year before. And obviously some of that would have been because he wasn't first choice running back. But I know he has had a couple of niggling injuries. But one of the things I absolutely love about Travian Henderson, one fumble in his entire career. You're talking about, when to put that into perspective, we seem to keep having guys. I say keep, but like obviously we brought in Devin Singletary, who's had his fumble issues this year. We've obviously got Tyrone Tracy, who has fumbled the ball 3 or 4 times this season already. I don't think Travian Henderson will be a lead back in the NFL, but I think it could be an absolutely perfect 1-2 punch with somebody like Tyrone Tracy. He's 100% going to be my top 5. I've not finalised my running backs yet because it is such a deep class. Obviously, the 2 Penn State guys have returned to Penn State for 2025, so that's going to kind of 2 talents removed away from the running back class this year. But, Travian Henderson, I'll be surprised if he's not going to be most people's top 5s.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got the sort of like the caliber. Like everyone was shocked when he returned to college last year because he was eligible to come out last year, and he would have been one of the top running backs who went last year. And like you said, the combine will be big for him. The medicals at the combine, but also the doing the drills of the pads, doing the 40-yard shuttle. He just needs to get a decent time. He doesn't need to be an absolute blitzer because he's 5'10" and 208. So he is more of that sort of like sturdier bruising back. I mean, if you could draw up a running back to go along with Tyrone Tracy, he is the type of back that you want to sort of partner Tyrone Tracy. The injuries are a little bit concerning, yes. But yeah, I mean, that's why like I said, the combine's going to be huge for him. But yeah, a big fan of Travion Henderson. Let's hope he has a quiet game though Monday night.
I'm sure you're hoping he has a quiet game on Monday, Kev. Yeah, obviously, College Football Championship game coming up Monday, 12:30. The number 5 seed Notre Dame against the number 6 seed Ohio State. Should be a good game. If you're not watching it, I suggest you do. I'm going to try and watch it. So there we go. No, let's hope. I just hope it's a good game at the end of the day. Shall we review some bold predictions?
We should. Just before we do that, apologies for the random pop-up of graphic that came up. That's the problem with leaving graphics in the studio. And also I had to quickly just disappear for a second. So I'm just going to swap myself and Kev back so it, adds a bit of continuity. I'm just gonna pass over to Shane for something just quickly.
Kieran's asking, are you feeling okay, Shane?
Do you think this is bad? Wait till the end of the season. We have to review this again.
That's right. It is bold prediction time, and words there of you think this is bad. Wait until the end of the season when we have to review them. Now,
oh God,
does that mean I was right?
Oh, I mean, it could be the only bold prediction you get right.
I'm going to want to give myself another black eye, aren't I?
Was it that much of a bold prediction?
No, it probably wasn't. It's probably the most surefire out of all of them.
No. Yeah.
Also, apologies, but that song from the end is like the most perfect 80s throwback song that I could find. So you're going to hear it 12 times. So enjoy.
I don't mind. It's cool. It's catchy.
Dan's first, Shane, Kev, then myself. We'll go through one by one You will be given a chance after the video plays to defend yourself or myself, if you can defend yourself. Now, the boys don't know any of these, and they also don't know any of the season predictions unless they've gone back to spoil it and watch them, but I don't think any of them have because they're not those kind of people.
No.
Boys, before we start, Dan, are you prepared for some shockers?
I mean, yes, but at the same time, I can't think how bad mine were. I don't know.
The
I think
theme
I
from
can remember
Curb Your
one of them.
Enthusiasm would have been good. It would have been good.
Yeah, that would
but
have been good.
it's also
Might have received a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Right. You ready?
Go on. Let's do it. Devin Singletary will have more rushing yards and touchdowns than the previous number 26 had in 2023. And he had 962 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground last year. So I'm predicting that Singletary will have more rushing yards and touchdowns than the previous number 26, who will remain nameless.
Dan?
But Tyrone Tracy, however, there we go. Remember Devin Singletary had how many starts until he got injured?
Well, I'd love to know, right, Dan, what if you add the two together, Singletary and Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, it would have been more.
Would be more
than
967 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Take a moral win, Dan. Take a moral win.
Absolutely. So our starting running back. Our starting running back.
Well, the key bit is though, the new 26 will have more than the old 26.
Caveated with he only started 3 games. So it's a small win, but yeah, it's a fair win, isn't it, really.
Ready for number 2?
How many did we make each? Sorry,
3 each.
Oh, okay.
Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau will both have double-digit sack numbers this season.
That cracks me up, that graphic. Absolutely love it.
It's scathing, isn't it?
The thing is, like, this isn't great for audio, though, because the audio people can't read what the stats are.
No, that's very true. That's very true. I'll read them out afterwards. So Burns' sacks on the season were 8 and Tibbs' sacks on the season were 4 for Dan's double-digit sacks. That's a good point, Kev. I'll make sure I read them out after each one. So, Dan?
Combined, they had double-digit sacks. I just missed one word out, didn't I? Damn it.
Right.
Dex had a better year. Come on.
Finish it off.
Yeah. And my team bold prediction, I think this is quite bold, considering we were last in these rankings last year. But the Giants defense to lead the NFC East in total sack numbers. Last season, Dallas led the division with 46. Philadelphia had 43. Washington had 39. And the Giants had 34. Thank you. At least it was close.
Yeah, so
At least it was close.
So like you said,
and to be fair, halfway through the season, we were leading. It's just the second half of the season, we didn't have Dexter Lawrence, and the Giants' defense was shit. So we were winning at halfway. I'll take it.
So obviously you said last season that the Cowboys had 46. So we finished with 45, but the Cowboys had 52 this year. Commanders 43, Eagles 41. So yes, we probably were on pace to do it. But that's unfortunately just how it crumbles.
Mine weren't horrendous. They were bad, but they weren't horrendous.
So when I was watching back the bold takes from before, one of the things that I said after Kev's 3 were if Kev was on the episode, he would have changed them to make them bolder to match ours. However, they were still harder to get, and obviously the Giants did all they could to really make sure that you got them, Kev. So we'll start off with your first one as read by Dan, I think it is, who reads yours out. Dan, are you going to do Kev's?
Yes, I'll do Kev's. He went with Malik Neighbours to get 1,200 yards receiving.
Kev with the celebration there. So yeah, Neighbours finished the season with 1,204 yards receiving, second most amongst rookie wide receivers, 7th overall. Kev, do you want to take your flowers now before we get to the others?
Oh yes, please. Thank you.
Just out of interest, knowing how bold Dan went with his first 3, would you have changed these? Would you have maybe added in like touchdowns or something?
Yeah, I probably would have been a bit more a bit more over the top with it. But then look at Dan's. Dan's was quite close. If Dan had said 2 D linemen got double-digit sacks, Sexy got 10 and Burns got 8. So if you had to just if you tweak them a little bit, he's not too far off with a lot of them. But I think the trick is to be a little bit more general.
Yeah. Ready for number 2?
No.
And he also went with Tyler Nubin to have 3 interceptions on the season as well.
So Tyler Nubin played the majority of snaps until he was injured in week 14. He was put on IR the week after, finished with 0 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt confident with that one. That was one of the ones I felt more confident in. But I mean, we talked about before, for all those weeks with just a silly interception at the beginning of the season by a linebacker, and no one really sort of stepping up in the secondary at all. But I'm kind of maybe I'll stick that one in my pocket for the sophomore season of Tyler Newman.
Cool. Right, let's round yours out.
His last one was for the Giants to win 8 games across the season.
So,
well, I mean, yeah. We all know what the record was. So,
that's bold.
That's pretty off the mark there. Yeah.
Shane, would you classify that as bold now, knowing?
I'll take the L.
I'm going to choose not to comment, having not remembering what I predicted.
And the fact that you are.
Yours are coming now.
Yeah. Fair.
I feel like Kev was really unlucky, and Dan's been unlucky so far.
Right, are you ready?
I have been, right? I have been unlucky.
Right, number 1.
So my first one, I went for a joint one with this one. So I had this thought when I was driving the car earlier on. So my original one, and I don't think it's that bold, but I've got Malik Neighbours Offensive Rookie of the Year. The lads know I've got a little bit of money on that, but I don't think it's that bold. So just tying in with that, because for my Neighbours to do that, the quarterback's got to perform. I'm not going to go as ridiculous as I went last year. We're not going to talk about it. But my other bold prediction is Daniel Jones plays every game. So he's had plenty of injury problems, and question of any position.
Is that every snap in every game?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Daniel Jones does not miss a snap for this season.
So for those audio listeners who can't read, that's Neighbours is unlikely to win Rookie of the Year as he is ranked behind Daniels, Nix and Bowers. Daniel Jones was benched in Week 17 against the Eagles for poor performance. He was then benched for good the following the Week 11 bye and released from the team.
What the fuck was I thinking when I was driving? I was driving.
Wow.
Did you bang your head? Did you have an accident or something?
I mean, on the basic, that's not that much of a bold prediction. A player to play every game. That should not be a bold prediction.
You said it with such hope as well.
Oh, I want to stop having fun when I'm driving.
But can you imagine though, in all your defense, Shane, if Neighbours had good quarterback play throughout the whole season, he could have actually run away with this, and he's actually made the short list and got 1,200 yards with the type of quarterback play he had. So not too bad.
It is. It's fucking terrible.
Are you ready for number 2, Shane?
No, because I know what number 2 is. My defensive bold prediction is Deontay Johnson gets over 130 tackles, 5 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles.
So,
in my defense of this one, he was not on IR before I made that prediction.
No, so he was put on IR 16 days after you made this prediction and was injured in the game that we were reviewing at the beginning of that episode. He didn't return until the season finale. He recorded 9 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles. Now, if he had played every single game at the same tempo, he definitely would have got over 130 combined tackles. So, if you want, a little olive branch or a little slither or something, you can take that one. Are you ready for number 3?
No,
you don't know what this is either, do you? Can you think? If you think back, can you think anything?
Absolutely nothing.
All right.
And then my team one. I don't know if this is bold, brave, dumb, stupid, or all of the above. But the New York Football Giants win the East.
So Shane's dropped because the Giants didn't win the East. They finished bottom of the East and were joint bottom in the entire league. They didn't win a single game against anybody in the East either.
He's hanging his head in shame right now.
Does Shane want to come in from the studio to?
The worst thing is we brought back the same people again. So we've got all these all over.
So you're just going to have the same bold predictions?
No, next year I'm going to predict. Next year I'm going to predict we win a game.
Yeah, at least our bold predictions for next season are going to be sort of tempered expectations.
I thought tempered them last year.
Giants to win the Super Bowl. I won't go that far.
Brilliant.
That's the end for you, though, Shane.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's now for my own. So, yeah.
Come on then.
So the Giants will have 5 players get either first or second team All-Pro this year. And I've named the 5 players as well. Dex, Burns, Neighbours, Akereke, and Andrew Thomas will be 5 first or second team All-Pros. So yeah, only one player has been named as an All-Pro. That was Dexter Lawrence in the NFLPA All-Pro team. When it came to the AP All-Pro teams, no one was close. I don't think many of our players even got votes. Neighbours and Dex probably, but other than that, that was it. So a great
20% success rate. Well done. 1 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yeah. The Giants will have over 30 passing touchdowns for the first time in 5 years, which is Jones's rookie year, where he had 24 and Eli had 6 before he was benched. So that's 2019 was the last time that we had 30 passing touchdowns. So 15 total passing touchdowns from Jones, Locke, and Boyle, which sounds like a British comedy trio. That was the same as they had in 2023 and 2021 when we had death by quarterback again. So that one went really well.
Maybe you should have taken my hint, and when I said stop that, maybe you should have gone, actually, no, that's too bold.
Yeah. Yep.
Ouch.
Right, last one. The Giants' defensive line cut their sack numbers by over half and have under 40 sacks on the season this year. Now, what I cut out was the 3-minute tirade that I got after making that bold prediction of Shane, basically saying that you're going to get me going on the offensive line now, and that it's not going to happen. And I might get that footage out at some point because it's quite funny. However, I think I'm unlucky here because the Giants quarterbacks were sacked 48 times compared to 85 in 2023. And the line was only credited with 32 sacks compared to 45. So I think it was
I think you can take a small win in that.
I reckon if Tommy DeVito didn't play, I would have got it.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment. So there we go. Who had the coldest take?
General consensus that is probably Shane.
Shane, are you going to take the Aaron Rodgers approach and go to a health retreat before making your bold predictions next year?
Hey, Mickey, Lenny, you're mad. I'm going to make sure I'm working.
It was also in that episode where we decided to discuss the previous year's bold predictions. I don't have them in front of me, but Shane, do you remember your amazing bold prediction from 2023?
Can I say no when we can move on? I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with Daniel Jones being amazing.
It was, I think Daniel Jones was a top 7 quarterback. Saquon Barkley was a top 5 running back. Darren Waller was a top 10 tight end. And there was another one there that I can't remember. But
third year's a charm, Shane. Third year's a charm. Come on.
Down a little.
I'm not very good at any of this. You know the worst thing is 2 years in a row that Daniel Jones has been behind it, and I've been his biggest critic. I've been the one who's gone, don't believe him. He's not the guy. We need to move on from him. Shane, what's your bold prediction? Oh, Daniel Jones to be MVP. Fucking hell.
At least they are the gift that keeps on giving, apparently.
Yeah, maybe you do secretly like Daniel Jones. You just didn't want to admit it.
Have we got anything else to discuss on this show?
Yeah, because the funny thing is now is we're going to go into our pre-season predictions where best defensive player, Kev went with Daniel Jones.
Hand that trophy over, Shane. Hand it over. There you go.
Please don't make any predictions on the new QB next time. For somebody who's so negative throughout the season, you're positive and optimistic pre-season, Shane.
They ain't brought me down yet.
The best defensive player was put to a straw poll, which was tweeted out and put on various socials. And
I'm guessing Daniel Jones didn't win it.
No, it was Malik Neighbours
Yeah,
who
that
won
was.
90% of the vote. There was also a vote for Tyrone Tracy on this one as well for best defensive player. Best defensive player, hold my hands up and say I got that one wrong. Dan's got some light show going
What
on.
happened there?
Did you mean to do that?
I have no idea what's going on there. The actual result is Dexter Lawrence. 84%. There was also votes for Burns, and the other one that was voted on was the surprise package of the year. Dan went Daniel Jones. He was surprising in a way.
Oh God!
I guess he was
Surprisingly bad.
And the actual one was voted was my one, Tyrone Tracy. He had 60% of the vote. There was also a vote for Drew Phillips, Chapman, and Smith Marset on there. So, Kev, you got a vote there with Drew Phillips. Now, interestingly, I turned around and said, I've got a feeling by the end of the season, Tyrone Tracy will usurp Singletary. Now, it wasn't the end of the season, but I got that right. And that's why surprise package. So I'm taking that as a win because bold predictions were not. So most touchdowns. That's what we went for. Three of us brought in Theo Johnson being a big man hype. Shane obviously decided and said that he wasn't going to go for his Penn State homer there and was correct. Malik Neighbours had 7. Theo had 1 touchdown on the season.
I don't remember that.
You don't.
I don't remember any of this.
Uh,
I think the previous videos have been AI.
Most catches caught. This one's quite interesting because obviously Neighbours won it with 109, but Wandale was second with 93. So I think we can take a moral victory there, Shane, on that one. We'll take any moral victories we can. Right now, before I bring this one up, Shane.
Oh God, why is it always me? Well, I don't even know what's coming up, and I don't. Oh,
Most rushing yards, Eric Gray.
well, I envision him being running back too.
That Eric Gray. Eric Gray had 31 yards on the season. Singletary 437. Tyrone Tracy 839.
Eric Gray have
31.
I need to drop him in my fantasy league, man. No one would help me.
Hang on. Wait. You have Eric Gray in your fantasy team?
Dynasty league.
Are you
I
feeling
drafted him
that?
when the Giants drafted him thinking, running back 2. Fucking running back 6 at this rate.
Bring back Gary Brightwell.
Bring back our mate Gary. Go on.
Most tackles. So Dan, Kev, Shane all went for Bobby O. I went for Pinnock. As we discussed earlier, Micah McFadden was the leader with 101. Akarike, third, 92 in 12. Pinnock, fourth, 79 in 16 there. Most sacks. Me and Dan went for Tibbs. Kev and Shane went for Burns. And obviously it was Dex, but Burns was second with 9. Tibbs was fourth with 6, just behind Aziz there. Interceptions.
Oh, who do we have?
Nubin for Dan, Kev, and Shane. Drew Phillips for myself. And 5 players had 1 interception on the season. Phillips was one of those players, so I'm taking a moral victory with Hawkins, Belton, Flott, and Darius Musau with the others there. Highest graded Giant. Dan and Kev said Thomas. Shane and myself said Dex. And Dex was the overall winner there. 89.9 overall. Neighbours top of offence with 86.7. Thomas second with 75.4. Daniel Jones combined touchdowns. So this is rushing and receiving.
Oh,
Dan said 22. Kev said 32. Shane said 16.
Oh, Kev.
And I said 25. 8 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns is a grand total of 10 there. Even Shane, at his most optimistic then, was still too optimistic for Daniel Jones.
I mean, I'll take second in that ranking.
Only
With
curiosity,
22,
might be able to find it, but what was the all QBs combined, rushing and passing?
I'm not sure. It's Dan. Dan's mic's making a bee
Noise.
around flowers noise. Yeah, you might want to reseat that just quickly. The last one was overall record. So I won't bring this one up. I'll read them out one by one. So Dan said 10 wins, 7 losses. Kev said 9 wins, 8 losses. Shane refused to give a prediction, but said a win range of 4 to 6. And I said 7 and 10. And it was 3 and 14. So I just want to read out a few viewers' ones because there were a few viewer ones that I took into account. So for anyone who's watching, I know a few people are. Holty, 5 and 12. Steve Wilkins, 8 and 9. James, 8 and 9. NW, 6, 10 and 1. Kieran said 7 wins max, and Bill said 9 and 8. So, yeah, not ideal. 3 and 14 record. Shane was the closest, I guess.
So I win, yeah?
I think the thing that you do win is the happiest day picture contest down there.
There you go. Even fireworks, look at that.
So, yeah, 8 and 9 for Steve, and Holty saying a moral victory, which we will allow. That's it. That is all of our takes throughout the season. I don't really know what we could say. We're all really bad at it.
July and the new predictions.
We were blinded by optimism, clearly.
No, what I would say, not to defend any of our predictions as such, but they are called bold, to be fair to us. Like, we have to make them a little bit, not so much as unrealistic, but they have to be more unrealistic than they do have to be realistic. Otherwise, then would it be bold?
Well, out of 12 predictions, only Kev got a well done sticker on his video. So,
which means
it was probably the least bold out of the lot then.
So Kev could take his flowers at the end of this episode, knowing full well that he got the well done sticker.
Congrats, Kev. Nobody's predicting 1 and 16 next season, Steve, because we're going to have a better year than that.
One person wins next year, 2.
Yeah, true.
Getting in early for next year, 2 and 15, seeing our fixtures.
What does Mr. Optimism think about this?
Load of fucking bullshit, really.
Well, that's not very optimistic now, is it?
The season's over, though, so my optimism has gone technically now.
No. You said new year, new Shane, new Mr. Optimism. We're 15 days into January.
What do I think of next season?
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is all like we'll have to see how on a serious note now, we have to see how the off season goes. We have to see what the free agency additions are like, the draft. We have to see how we look in pre-season stuff.
Right now, 15th of January, my prediction is 0-17 because we don't have any fucking quarterback to begin with.
Tommy DeVito.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he might win us one game. You never know.
Remember that, Craig, because remember this episode, 15th of January, because if the worst happens, you can fully play this back and it cancels out all my bad bold predictions.
Sorry, I missed that. What was the prediction?
0-17, and I says, remember this date, the 15th of January, because if the worst does happen next year, you can fully come back to this clip, cap cut it in all that shit, and play that with music, and I can get loads of well dones and stickers, gold stars, the lot.
Maybe we should do like 3 predictions and 1 bold one or something.
Well, so like 3 normal predictions and then bold predictions after.
2 and 2.
2 and 2 sounds good.
Yeah, bold predictions are fun though, aren't they?
They are fun.
Bold predictions are fun because the likelihood of them happening is.
I reckon 3 and 1. Still do a bold prediction for offense, defense, and general, and then just a 1 realistic prediction, and then we can all laugh and joke when the realistic one doesn't even fucking come close.
Again, Shane, not very optimistic of you, is it? The old Shane, the 2024 Shane is slowly creeping back in. Oh dear. Well, that was fun, and they're fun for you. They are fun for us as well, to be fair. We enjoy doing them, and that was a good little section to round out. That was good fun. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this evening. We'll be back next Thursday at usual time of 8:30 as we start to look forward and start looking at Giants pending free agents. And so, yeah, got that to look forward to. And plus, Shane and Kev will be giving us some tips on how they scout college players as well and what they look for. And also, obviously, we'll drop in a little review of the college football championship game. And Kev's either going to be celebrating or drowning his sorrows. So, got that to look forward to next Thursday. Get your notepads ready because they're going to give you some tips on what to look for when you look at the scouting college prospects. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Anything else to add before we go?
I think that we can officially say now, the New York Football Giants 2024 season is over. Forget it. Get rid of that filthy 100 season logo. I never want to see it again. Dan, I'm sorry, love the guy, but get that jersey down.
Oh, it's fully coming down this
I can see too much of the red Kerricky one. Let's just bin this and just pretend it never happened and move on and, look to Morning Kev's face.
Would you like me to do it live on air now and remove the jersey from the
get it down. Okay. Officially pulling the curtain down on the 2024 season. Got a lot of love for the big man Dex. That shirt is always going to be tainted with failure, disappointment, and brutal bold predictions. But yeah, we're coming into draft season now. Where mine and Kev's favourite time of the year. I'd say I don't want to get speaking for Kev, but definitely one of my favourite times of the year. And Kev, good luck on Monday night. Definitely do not want to see the Buckeyes lifting that championship. So all the best, and I hope it's a happy natty final for you.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. I mean, at least you can always say you got beat by the winner if that comes in. So, that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, this is it now. Put the bed this past season. Dan's right. Shane's right. The season's done now. Nothing we can do about it. Moaning's been done. We've talked about it to the length now. Let's look forward. Shane's correct. Best time of year. We know where we're drafting. Now we just got to see what type of players are in this draft and see who's available, who we like, who we should draft, and then watch on draft weekend when we don't draft those players we like. We draft other players we've never heard of. But, it's all fun and games. But yeah, no, I mean, and do you know what? I'm looking forward to this. Every week talking to you boys and going through what we do now. I mean, we're going to be doing the rebuild. We're going to be doing who we want in free agency. Free agency will come the first week of March. So that'll come around quick. And then you got, the draft at the end of April. So there's going to be a lot of sort of like, us talking about where we should go as an organization. We've got to get our house in order first. So once we do that, then we can look at, what type of players will fit this team, who should we get in free agency, how much money have we got to spend. So yeah, I mean, like, it is an exciting time of the year.
Yeah, as Kev says, free agencies first. We'll start looking at the preliminary stuff of that. Then we get into college, because free agency doesn't actually sort of kick off until the second week of March, I think. I don't think it's been officially confirmed as of yet, the off-season dates, but I would imagine same as last year, second week of March. So we'll take a 2-week break to cover that, and then it's back into the draft stuff, and we start ramping up there. There's plenty of stuff in the works. But yeah, this is the end of the 100th season.
It is the end of the 100th season, and what a shit season it's been. couldn't have asked for a worse season to celebrate 100th season. But hey ho, it's in the books, and we move on, and lots to look forward to. Obviously, divisional playoffs this weekend as well. Some big games coming up in the playoffs this weekend, so got that to look forward to as well. And yeah, looking forward to getting into the off season and talking college prospects and free agency and everything else as well, because it was last year, really enjoyed it. This year, hopefully, it's going to be the same as well. Obviously, we know where we are and we know what we need to improve on, and it's going to be fun looking at it sort of from the perspective of where we think we need to improve. And yeah, lots to look forward to and to enjoy with you guys. And obviously, rounding out the end of April with draft weekend, so that's going to be a big highlight for us again, no doubt. As usual, check out our socials for all the latest news and updates. Follow the links in our description to find our platforms. Give the episode a big thumbs up on YouTube. Give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified on when we go live as well. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening for your comments this evening. As usual, we appreciate you all getting involved. And my thanks as ever go to Shane, to Kev, and to Craig. Good luck for Monday, Kev. For joining me, and to you, the viewers and listeners. We're signing off until next time. Let's go, Giants.